So in this segment, we're going to be talking about Liz Truss refused to enshrine animal welfare in trade deal, says Minister. I mean, there's some pretty wild stuff here, and you can always say, there are always people out there who goes, who cares, like the animal's going to die in the end and blah, blah, blah. But I think, in my opinion, animal rights are important, despite the fact that I'm an omnivore, but I'm always on the fence about becoming a vegetarian. So Truss has refused to recognise the importance of animal welfare in post-Brexit trade deals, the Environment Secretary has said. So this is Big George Eustace. Now, it doesn't surprise me given the fact that we've done trade deals with New Zealand and Australia. New Zealand being, I think, fine when it comes to animal welfare, as in they're pretty similar to us in a lot of senses, but Australia, definitely not. They're way worse on animal welfare. Given that we're looking to do trade deals with America, the United States of America, I wouldn't be surprised about the animal welfare stuff. Eustace was speaking at the Conservative Environment Network Tory leadership hustings on behalf of Sunak, said he faced challenges in trying to get Truss to enshrine animal welfare in trade deals. Now, this is interesting because we've spoken previously about Tories kind of briefing against each other in the media. Here you have George Eustace, who's there on behalf of Rishi Sunak, attacking Liz Truss. And what's even more interesting is that George Eustace is he is or was the Environment Minister. He was that he's Department for Environment and Rural Affairs, right? He had a lot of problems, or has a lot of problems with the Department for International Trade. And we've spoken about those kind of issues before. So I imagine he's had long-running issues with the Department for International Trade, even when Truss was there. So this is quite interesting. He said he's got a position that I am much more comfortable with than I suspect will be the position with Liz Truss, him talking about Rishi Sunak. Sunak has made it clear that we shouldn't compromise on animal welfare standards. Surprising. It is fair to say there were some challenges I had in getting Liz Truss to recognise the importance of animal welfare. Really big Boris Johnson vibes there. In particular, that we should reflect it in trade agreements. Zach Goldsmith, representing Truss, essentially you got the two delegates here, the B team. Well, why they sent the B team this event is kind of embarrassing. Goldsmith claims Sunak never showed up to climate-related cabinet meetings. How relevant is it for him to attend cabinet meetings, those sorts of climate-related ones? I guess given that he's the Chancellor of the Exchequer, he would be the money guy, he'd have to fund these programmes, but him not being there isn't that damning an indictment. Said he tried to trim funds for international wildlife programmes. That's a damning indictment right there. Trimming funds for international wildlife programs, given that climate change is a global problem. If we could help sort of other areas kind of do more to reduce things like deforestation, that'd be great. But at the same time, we still have to sort out our problems here. We're still far too reliant on fossil fuels and not reliant enough on renewable energy. Even our nuclear energy is lacking. Neither candidate attended the hustings, instead submitting written statements. Truss said she was an environmentalist before it was cool. I mean, she was a Brexiteer when it was, politically expedient. Young Liz Truss would probably be ashamed of older Liz Truss. But yeah, it's kind of embarrassing that these two are kind of briefing against each other. You've got Lord Goldsmith attacking Rishi Sunak, and you've got George Eustace attacking Liz Truss. Like, it is funny. How are these Tory riffs meant to heal? I don't know, but in the words of Tobey Maguire of Spider-Man, I missed the part where that's my problem. But this is brilliant, and if I were Labour, I'd be noting all this stuff down with glee, that these two are still attacking each other constantly when it comes to every issue that they get questioned on. Every issue, and it's just wild that they're doing this. You got here Liz Truss accused of running scared after pulling out a BBC interview. That was with, I think, Nick Robinson. She kind of backed out of an interview with Andrew Neil, one that Rishi Sunak did. And it makes sense for her to do this, given that she's the front runner. I think the polling is quite favourable in her lead. It's just pull a Joe Biden and just go hide for a while because you're not good at interviews. And the sad thing is Joe Biden's probably better at interviews than Liz Truss will ever be, despite the fact that Joe is old. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This kind of stuff doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. Sunak being more on the environmental side, or at least the animal welfare side, does surprise me a bit. But when it comes to Liz Truss, nothing's that surprising, is it, when you read about it? Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.